Hi, Ben. My name is Janine. I had many youthful misadventures. For example, I got banned from Tijuana, and I also robbed a local taco shop. I'm here to confess my secret past.
Hey everyone, it's Ben. Can we all consider what it was like to be kids for a moment? How much mischief were you up to? And how much did you hide from your parents? Did you commit robbery? Did you get into such sticky situations that you were legally banned from an entire city in Mexico? Well, my guest Janine is here to reveal the trials and tribulations of her youth, a childhood so reckless that she wants the details she's about to share to remain buried. But in a surprise revelation, at least one member of her family found out the entire story you're about to hear. Let's get started. Hi, Janine, and welcome to The Secret Room.
Hi, Ben. Good morning.
Good morning. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for coming.
Of course.
You had a lot of misadventures growing up, including a heist at the local taco shop.
That is correct.
Well, we're here to hear all about your youthful misadventures. But before we get to that, I'd like to understand a little bit more about you and what led you to that unfortunate day.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah. I lived at home with my mom and my dad and my brother.
Uh-huh.
My mom was a very loving and caring mom. She worked full time at the local grocery store down the road. So it was kind of a latchkey situation. I'd get home from school and, she'd be at work until, 9 or 10 o'clock at night. My dad was a truck driver, so he was gone for months at a time. And he would only be home for like a few weeks, and then he'd be back on the road again.
And what was he like?
Well, my dad was a Vietnam vet. And after Vietnam, he became a truck driver. He was his own boss, and he moved furniture for a living. So he would drive cross country, and he'd be, like I said, he'd be gone for months, home for, a week or so, and then back on the road. My dad was a super hard worker, very intense. He ended up with a drinking problem. He was also a drummer and had his own band when he was younger. So as I was growing up, I always had a drum set in my dining room, and either him or my brother were playing it constantly. We'd always have big parties. We'd have people coming over and a band playing, drinking happening, beers flowing. So my dad was super fun, but being an alcoholic, he would also get super angry. So it was kind of to the extreme. Either we were having a lot of fun listening to music and having a great time, or he was angry, waking us up at 5 a.m, telling us to get to work and do our chores, meaning scrubbing walls and working all day. His work ethic.
So was it better when he was home or when he was on the road?
For me, at that time growing up, it was 100% better when he was on the road.
Yeah.
Having him home was fun as far as the parties, but the next morning we all felt the wrath because he'd be angry and hungover and, probably feeling guilty for himself and kind of taking that out on us.
So with your dad on the road a lot and your mom working long hours, it's fair to say you didn't have a lot of supervision as a kid?
I don't think I did, no.
Looking back, would you say that was a challenging environment for a kid?
I do believe it was definitely a challenging environment for a young teenager, but I think also it was very common at that time in the 80s.
You told me before the interview that you ran away a lot.
I did. I started running away, I think, when I was probably 13 years old. I probably ran away, at least a dozen times.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How long would you be away for?
Every time I ran away, it would be when my dad was home. So I would run away. It would be a few days. My dad would have the authorities looking for me, and I would usually be picked up within a few days.
And where would you stay when you were gone?
I would stay at different places, but I think most times I would stay with Nicole and her mom. We had a little tight circle of friends. I remember I would stay with my other friend Felicia a lot, my friend Laura. It would be friends' houses.
What did your father do when you got returned home? Was he angry?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I would usually get put on restriction. One of the times, and it was one of the last times I ran away, I was hiding behind a dumpster at a gas station, and these police rolled up and they caught me. And I knew that they would bring me home as usual, as we had done in the past. And I did not want to go home. So I completely fell to the ground and started to cry and said, I can't go back home. I would rather live in a foster care. home. And so sure enough, they took me to the group home that you kind of start the whole foster care system. And just like that, I was placed in foster care and did that for about a year. That was the last time I ran away. The time before that, I got taken back home, and my dad, he decided to put me in a mental institution. Those were pretty common back in the 80s. You would put kids in there for any reason. I didn't have any, and then I still don't have a mental illness. But as a runaway, you could put your child into a mental institution. And
how long were you checked in?
I was there for, I want to say, maybe 3 months.
Oh my gosh, that must have been awful.
Yeah, when you first go in, they put you in a locked unit. And I remember being there for maybe 3 weeks, and I actually ran away from there as well. There was a side door that hadn't been left open, and I ran away from the mental institution locked unit. And I hid behind a home, and I felt like I was there for hours. Again, I'm probably 13 years old, and I was just hiding. And I thought that I was good. So I left through the side yard. I left and went back onto the road. And literally one of the workers at the mental institution was right there walking the street. So I did what I know how to do. And I broke down and I started crying. I said, I know what I did was wrong. And I was actually coming back. And so they took me back, of course. I wish they didn't, but I didn't get any penalties for it. I was in the open unit after that for like a week. And I think it's because they believe that I literally was trying to come back, which of course I was not. I was just caught.
What was it like there?
It was very structured, and you had group meetings. I did have a roommate who liked to meow like a cat. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, why am I in here? I don't have these issues. I just don't want to be home. And I don't remember much about that time. Again, a lot of group meetings and people trying to tell you that you're doing wrong and trying to figure out why you're making the mistakes you are. And it wasn't a place I belonged. I was just a runaway. I wasn't dealing with drugs or any issues at that time, except for unhappy home life.
How was it back at home after you got out?
The same. Nothing changed. And in fact, once I got home, we didn't even talk about the fact that I was put in the mental institution. And to this day, my dad's not alive anymore, but me and my mom, we're close, but we don't talk about it.
Is that when you started doing drugs?
Yeah. So as soon as I got out, I'm like, fuck this. This is what people think of me. And so I think I got a bit more rebellious after that. And definitely that's when I started doing drugs. I wasn't doing drugs up until then. How
were you introduced to them?
Growing up in the area where I lived, crystal meth was super common at that time. So my friend Nicole went to school with this girl. And I remember Nicole coming up to me one day and just saying, yeah, so-and-so has a dad who actually makes crystal meth, and we can go to his house and, hang out. So, okay. So we did. And that's how it all started. And we befriended this man. His daughter actually didn't do drugs and was just kind of an A student, nerdy girl, super sweet. And she just kind of watched her dad be, this kind of horrible dude who cooked crystal meth. And he tried to set up his own limo service. And yeah, we ended up, a lot of times we would stay the night there. Sometimes we'd stay 4 or 5 nights. It felt really odd hanging out with an older man. He was probably in his, 50s, 40, probably 40s. But he never tried to ask us for like sexual favors or anything. But he was certainly an oddball. And now that I look back, being an adult myself, I think it's obviously super gross. And yeah.
So you had mentioned earlier that the last time that you ran away, you ended up in foster care.
That was a time where I ran away. I ended up, I don't know how, but I ended up at a gas station. And I remember hiding behind the dumpster and just kind of sitting there contemplating, what am I going to do next? And the police found me, as they usually do. And knowing that if I went back home, things would be rough. So that's, when I just kind of said, I can't do this anymore. I would rather be in the foster care system. So they shipped me to a group home about an hour away from my house. I stayed there for a couple weeks. And from there, I went to these temporary foster homes. I went to a couple of them. That whole thing lasted about a year. But basically, the social worker, after doing all the investigation of the home life and all that, said, well, it might not be the perfect place to be raised a child, but really your situation isn't that bad. And so I was let free from the foster care system and back home.
Wow. So you're telling me that when you got picked up as a runaway, you had told the cops, I don't want to go home. I'd rather be in foster care. And so then they enrolled you in foster care?
Yeah.
I don't know much about the foster care system, but that process does not sound right.
It all happened so fast. And I wasn't upset about it. At that point, anything was better than being home. Again, my home life was so odd, being that when my dad was not home, I had the freedom to do just about anything I wanted, go anywhere I wanted. And I was pretty mature for my age, and I was pretty responsible. Well, in some ways. But when my dad was home, it was super strict and you couldn't even leave the house. So you had these extremes of parenting. At that point, and again, I love him so much now, but I hated my dad, and I would do anything to stay away from him. And if that meant going to foster care, then that's what I was going to do. And that's what I did.
Wow. And so how was life when you got back home after being in foster care for a year?
By the time I was out of foster care, I want to say I was probably about 15. I think at that point, my dad realized that he wasn't going to have the control over me that he always hoped to. And again, I think my dad was just trying to be a good parent and didn't know how to do it. And being more strict was the answer to everything for him. But once I got back, he kind of let it go. And at that point, I got to be independent and make my own choices. I started to work, and I was responsible. I was probably acting like I was 19 instead of 15. I moved out by the time I was 17.
So you mentioned your friend Nicole a couple of times. Can you tell me about her?
Yes.
When did you meet?
So I met Nicole when I was in 6th grade. Mm-hmm. We didn't really become good friends until 7th grade.
Were you best friends?
Oh, definitely we're best friends. And we still are after all these years.
Oh.
Yeah, in 6th grade, we just kind of passed each other in the hallways. I was a little white girl trying to break dance at lunchtime. I don't know what she was doing at that time. But by 7th grade, we both changed schools and we were familiar faces to each other. So we became instant friends. Nicole was a very strong-headed child and teenager, and she still is to this day. She lived with her very Italian grandparents some of the time, and she lived with her mother at other times, throughout teenage years. We both had challenging childhoods, like I've said, and I think that made us feel safe together. Our bond with each other grew, definitely, and to the point where we were always together. Most nights she would stay at my house. My room was full of Boy George posters, which later my dad ended up burning in a fire pit in the backyard with all my other belongings.
Why did your father burn all of your Boy George posters?
I think it was one of the nights that I was trying to sneak out and I got caught. He was definitely drunk. This was probably, it was the only time he ever got physical with me, but he pushed me down on the ground and
oh my,
even got to the point of putting his hands around my neck, but he stopped quickly. There was a lot of yelling and screaming, and I remember fighting back. Anyway, at some point he got up and he started tearing down all my posters and grabbing up all my things. We had this big brick, bonfire feature in our backyard. And it was already lit. I think there were people over at that time and they were enjoying the bonfire. And he literally just took all my things and would beeline to that fire pit and everything went in there.
What kinds of things did you have in your room?
I had a lot of Boy George posters. I had, we used to go to this place called Truly Yours, which is a diner down the road. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I decided to make a Truly Yours collection, and I had a lot of dishes and coffee mugs and silverware, things like that from Truly Yours. So
you stole dishes and silverware from Truly Yours, the diner?
I did.
Because you took the name of the diner to heart?
Maybe that's why. I never really thought about that. But yeah, it could have been.
What was Nicole's home life like?
Nicole's home life was very imbalanced. Sometimes she lived with her grandparents. Other times she lived with her mom. Her mom kind of went from apartment to apartment all over the area. Pretty much storybook neglected. There would never be food in the house. So she never really had money or food.
I mean, it sounds to me like you guys had a really, really rough childhood.
I mean, I think we did. I don't think that was uncommon back in the 80s in this area. I mean, I don't think it's uncommon now. I feel like my childhood was great compared to what Nicole had to go through.
Oh my gosh. You guys bonded.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you bonded because you both shared, really, really tough situations at home.
Absolutely. I think that we could relate to each other. We always had each other's back, and we just found family within each other, for sure.
When we were preparing for the interview, you told me that at times you had found yourself in very dangerous situations.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about some of those times?
Of course.
Oh boy, we're about to get into it. We'll be back in a moment.
Hey all, it's Susie, Secret Room producer. You may have heard me talk about my weight loss plateau a time or two around here. And if you felt stuck trying to lose weight too, you're not alone. Enter Weight Loss by Hers. And Hers now offers access to an affordable range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the new Wegovy pill and the Wegovy pen. Are you squeamish with needles? I know I can be. The Wegovy pill could be perfect for you. With Wegovy at Hers, lose up to 20% or more of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps you regulate your appetite, eat less, and keep weight off. Plus, Wegovy is the first ever GLP-1 pill for weight loss. So there are no needles in sight. And it doesn't stop there. Weight Loss by Hers goes beyond medication by offering access to 24/7 messaging with your care team and tons of in-app lifestyle and nutrition tips, like recipes, meal plans, fitness videos, sleep content, and more. Little changes make a huge difference. I was plateaued for so long, and I have finally broken through it. When you have access to all resources at home, motivation and success become so much easier. Ready to reach your goals? Visit forhers.com/secret to get personalized, affordable care that gets you. That's forhers.com/secret. forhers.com/secret. Weight Loss by Hers is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk AS. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information and restrictions, visit forhers.com. Check the show notes for the details.
Hey everyone. If you're like me, you rely heavily on your cell phone. It's always with you. It might even be the most important part of your life kit. But without a service provider, it might as well be a brick. And if you're like most people, you probably overpay for big wireless, because that's the way it's always been. Well, Mint Mobile is here to fix that. I use it and get all the same great coverage and speed, but without the crazy high bills. I want to thank Mint Mobile for supporting this episode of The Secret Room. Make the switch at mintmobile.com/secret. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. With premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month, all plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Bring your own phone and bring your own number. Activate in minutes and start saving immediately. No long-term contracts, no hassle. Just great service for less. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/secret. That's mintmobile.com/secret. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5GB plan required. That's equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Then full price plans options are available. Taxes and fees are extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Check the show notes. And we are back as I asked Jannean to tell us about dangerous situations she and her bestie Nicole found themselves in as kids.
Nicole and I, we were very adventurous, and I don't know, nothing would really stop us from doing anything. If somebody asked us to go somewhere or do something, we'd be all for it. This one time we were hanging out. We were at the community college by our house, and there's these little tiny grass park areas, very small, very intimate. And I remember these guys are like, come party with us. And they had these tents set up. And I don't know to this day if we just got so drunk that we passed out or if they actually put something in our drinks. And now that I'm older, I think that they actually put something in our drinks, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, both me, Nicole, and I.
That is terrible.
And the reason why I think that is both Nicole and I fell asleep, which is kind of odd. And we both woke up to them. There were two dudes, and one was hanging out with me and one was hanging out with her. And we weren't even flirting with them. We weren't those kind of girls where we would be trying to hook up with dudes. We were just trying to have a good time and hang out. But yeah, we woke up and they were both, one was messing with her intimately, I guess you would say. And one was doing it to me as well. It wasn't rape. What is rape? There was no intercourse, but we were definitely getting.
You were sexually assaulted.
We were thank you. We were sexually assaulted.
Awful.
For sure. 100%.
No, it's disgusting.
It was disgusting and
reprehensible.
Yeah. That happened to us. And
how did you get out of there?
We woke up and we're like, what the hell are you doing? And we left and they let us leave.
Did you ever see them again?
No. God, no. I think we met him that night and never saw him again after that. I live by the beach, so it's very common for, the group of friends to go down the beach, have a bonfire, drink beers illegally on the beach, especially underage. So we were doing that night, big bonfire, everyone's swimming in the ocean at night, super fun, water's warm. I think I took off my bra, so I just have this tank top and some jean shorts on, and I'm swimming, and so was everyone else. The cops come rolling up, they're like, pour out your beer, put out the fire. But I had attitude and sass when I was that age, and I was, super buzzed. And the Rodney King situation and the riots in LA had just happened. And I remember as the cops telling me to pour out my beer, I remember turning to the cop and saying, if you weren't so fucked up to Rodney King, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Oh boy. How'd that go?
Which was really dumb on my part. And I can laugh at it this day. I think I laughed about it the next day because it was so dumb of me. Anyway, I think at some point they asked my age. I lied because I'm drinking underage, right? So I didn't want to get in trouble for that. So I said I was 18. I definitely was probably 17. Anyway, they didn't question. They didn't ask for my ID, put me in the cop car and took me away. At that time, I was dating a guy who was still my best friend today. We don't date anymore, but he was really upset that they were taking me away. So he threw a fit. And so he ended up getting taken away as well. We ended up in the local jail for drunk in public, I believe it was. And again, being fingerprinted, all the things. So I spent the night in jail that night. My boyfriend at the time did as well. And I remember there were a couple things about that night. Being that I was in a tank top and jean shorts and no bra, I think my tank top was even see-through. And again, I wasn't trying to be all sexy. I was just swimming in the ocean. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting in a room and I have an officer of some sort questioning me. And he literally, I don't remember the wording he used, but he basically was calling me a whore and a slut. And I just remember going, what are you talking about? I'm just swimming in the ocean. Meanwhile, we walked to the cell and we passed this another room and there's my boyfriend being hogtied. So his hands and his feet are handcuffed and he's laying on the floor. I'm like, what is happening? And he had told me later that he was really worried about my well-being and tried to get to me. And because of that, they hogtied him. And yeah, we both spent the night in the jail. We got out around the same time in the morning. We're barefoot, looked like we just got out of the ocean and made the walk of shame home.
And what did your parents say when you got home?
There were no questions ever asked. However, the next day, my shoes were still at the police station. And I remember my mom gave me a ride to the station to get my shoes.
Oh, my God.
I don't remember ever having a conversation about it. Again, she was super sweet and supportive. And yeah, she drove me to the station and got my shoes.
You're saying your mom was just like, okay, honey, you happened to spend the night in jail and your shoes are there. Let's go get them.
I don't remember, Ben. I mean, it could have been, maybe I lied and said that they were in the lost and found. Who knows? I don't remember that part, but I do remember my mom giving me a ride to the station and getting my shoes.
Oh my gosh, what a story.
And I never questioned officers about Rodney King after that.
You really, you had a lot of narrow scrapes.
I did, for sure.
Goodness gracious. How aware do you think your parents were of what you were up to?
I don't think they ever really knew the extent of things that I did. Yeah, I would get myself into situations, but at the most part, I was a pretty responsible kid. I don't know how to, that probably doesn't make sense.
How about Nicole's mom? Did she know?
Yeah, she had an idea of what we were up to. I remember one time we were doing psychedelics and we actually told her, yeah, we're on acid. And she thought it was the funniest thing.
She did.
And I remember being at the apartment and hanging out in the living room. And she was trying to entertain us and make us laugh and do funny things to make us trip out a little harder on acid. And so she knew. One time, Nicole and I thought it'd be a great idea to to steal items from the Safeway, which my mom worked at.
The grocery store.
Yeah. We stole a whole bunch of cigarettes. I think we stole candy. And we definitely got caught and brought into the security room. And they were going to call our parents to pick us up. And we said, just call Nicole's mom. And she came and picked us up and never told anyone. And so, yeah, she kind of had our back on some of these crazy things we did.
Do you think Nicole's mom was a good parent?
I think Nicole's mom tried to be the best parent she could with the challenges that she was going through.
What were her challenges?
I mean, she battled with addiction. Nicole's dad had been shot by a police officer when Nicole was at the age of 2. I don't know why. I know he wasn't doing anything super bad, but it was just kind of they were very much like this little hippie couple back in the day. And anyway.
Was he killed?
He was.
Oh my God.
So I think Nicole's mom just had a lot of challenges and then addiction, and she tried to love and be there. She just didn't know how.
I mean, your story is going from bad to worse. I have to be honest, Jannean. Sounds terrible.
You know, it might sound bad to worse, but at the same time, it's almost sweet in a way. Like, I'm not trying to make my parents sound like they were bad people because, again, all these mistakes or all this misparenting, both Nicole's mom, both my parents, they tried so hard. It was just in a time and where things weren't different. Kids weren't watched so closely, right? And then they came from challenging backgrounds. And so they're doing the best they can. And so, yeah, it might sound kind of horrible. But as an adult and looking back now, I find sweetness out of it, if that makes sense.
Gosh, that's one take. And when we return, how Jannean and Nichol got banned from Tijuana. Longtime listeners will remember that I started this podcast with my friend Dahlia Beta, who co-hosted with me for the first year. And when the show was just an idea, we were filled with questions like, what if no one listens? And is this the right decision? It was hard to get over the doubt at times, and having a partner can really help. If you are starting an online business or you've got one you want to take to the next level, let me recommend a great partner to have on your side, Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Alo Yoga to brands just getting started. You can get started with your own design studio. With hundreds of ready-to-use templates, Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. You can get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns that find your customers wherever they are. Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping and processing. Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing, returns, and beyond. And what if you get stuck? Shopify is always around to share advice with their award-winning 24/7 customer support. And you've seen the trusted iconic purple Shop Pay button that's used by millions of businesses around the world. It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. It also helps boost conversions, meaning less carts going abandoned and more sales for you. And what I love about Shopify is no matter how big you want to grow, they have all the tools you need to take control and take your business to the next level. It's time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/secretroom. Go to shopify.com/secretroom. That's shopify.com/secretroom. Check the show notes. And we are back. It sounds like you're in Southern California?
I am.
Did you and Nicole get down to Mexico?
We did. So I live and I still do, about an hour away from the Mexico border. And then you have Tijuana is the, border town across the border. We would go there probably like 2 weekends a month for a couple years.
As minors?
As minors. I think we started going there probably around 14 years old.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that sounds like a very dangerous situation. Did your parents know you were going to Mexico?
Oh, God, no. No, we would say that we were spending the night at each other's houses.
And I assume you were going to the bars.
Yes. I mean, they were much more than bars. They were these huge
clubs.
Dance clubs. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were going to the clubs, and dancing and having a great time. And you'd get there around, 9 o'clock at night, and you dance until 3 or 4 in the morning, and then you cross the border and make your way back home. We did it all the time.
Were you drinking there?
Yes, Ben.
Obviously.
I don't think it would be as much fun if you weren't drinking. I mean, it's kind of like if you ever watch movies and you see like parts about Tijuana where they put your head back and do these like huge shots of tequila and through like little hoses. And that was like a thing. And then beers were, 50 cents.
Did you make any friends down there?
We did. There was one boy that I dated for a few months. He was one of the bartenders.
You just dated him while you were down there? Or did he come up?
Just when I was down there.
Mm-hmm.
He never came up. Yeah. He was a bartender at one of the clubs that we would frequent. And him and his supervisor let me actually work behind the bar for a while. So I got to play bartender. And that was really fun.
Did you get paid?
No. It was all volunteer.
So he let you work serving alcohol at 14.
Yeah.
And you weren't even paid.
No, I just wanted to be part of it. I just thought it was fun. I still have a big love for Tijuana. I don't go down to the clubs anymore. In fact, now I go down and volunteer. But back in the day, all I wanted to do was soak up the culture and the environment, and working behind the bar for me, even at age 14, was just a blast. And I was dating this guy at the time, and he was super cute. And at one point, I even went home and met his family, and I think I stayed the night at his house and all that. But one of the nights that I was working behind the bar, I dropped a glass, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I went to go pick it up and try to pick up all the pieces. And of course I was drunk, and I cut my leg. I still have a huge scar. I cut my leg really bad with one of the pieces of glass. And so after that night, they never let me work behind the bar again. And the dude broke up with me.
He broke up with you?
Yeah, that night he drove me back across the border.
Uh-huh.
And back then it was much easier to get back and forth. If you lived in Tijuana, you could easily go across, and it wasn't a big deal like it is now. But yeah, he dropped me off across the border, and that was it. Never hung out with him again. I was super sad. Plus I had this big cut on my leg. We kept going to that same club. I think he quit not too long after that and probably started working at another club. But yeah.
Where did you get health care for your leg?
For that, I don't think I ever did. Yeah. There was many times I had been cut up or, like self-inflicted injuries due to drinking that I didn't go seek help for. I would just deal with it. And that's probably why I have such a big scar.
But you kept going to Tijuana.
We did keep going to Tijuana. Definitely had many more adventures or misadventures, like you would like to say. Sometimes we'd go to Tijuana and spend the night. Hotels were super cheap, easy to get a hotel. Again, even at age 14, you can get your own hotel room. I would like to say things are different now, and I think it's harder, but back then it was super easy. So yeah, we had stayed in a hotel, and the next morning, our intentions were to go back home, but we decided to stop off at one of the local bars and get some drinks. We didn't have any money at the time. And these guys are like, hey, we'll buy you a drink. It was myself, Nicole, and one of our other friends named Jason, a guy. And so we went in, we're like, yeah, thanks for buying us drinks. So we must have drank with these guys for a couple hours, thinking that they were just being really nice. We're playing pool and doing all the things. Well, they started to, flirt with us, and it was getting more, the flirting was getting thicker. And they wanted to take us home. We're like, we're not going home with you. What are you talking about? We're just having a good time. We're doing things for the free beer. And so they realized they were not going to get anywhere with us. And so they left. They didn't say goodbye or nothing. They just left. And
did they pay the bill?
We assumed they paid the bill. So we're getting ready to leave, saying our goodbyes to the bartenders and all that. And we walk out, and sure enough, we have staff running after us going, hey, what about the bill? So we go back.
Oh, my God.
We tell them we have absolutely no money. And so they called the cops. Cops came and put us in the cop car.
This is a very bad situation.
Right. We're at this point thinking we're just going straight to jail, because you hear all the horror stories of Mexico and jail. But that's not what happened. Instead, there was this random freestanding building that you walk in, and there's a judge and some chairs. And so we had to go in front of the judge. I think what happens is this judge is set there in his own building so that because it's not a serious crime, right? So he listens to it and then kind of decides, are you going to jail, or are we going to let you go? I think that's what this guy was. So,
oh my God. So did you go to jail? What was the verdict? Yeah.
So we go in front of the judge. I'm telling him in my broken Spanish, trying to explain what happened. I don't think he understood, but he realized that we didn't rob the bar and that it was all a mistake. So he told us that we need to leave Tijuana and we're never to come back. He didn't want us in his hometown, he said.
So the judgment was you were banned from Tijuana.
The judgment was we were banned from Tijuana. Yes, to never come back ever.
So how long did it take you to get out of the country?
We did not leave.
You did not leave?
Not right away. We stayed, found other ways to hang out and drink. And I think it was maybe 4 or 5 hours after that, we found our way across the border and went home.
Oh, my God. And you did all this on zero money?
Yes. I think my whole teenage life was on zero money until I got a job. Yeah.
Wow. And how did you feel getting banned from Tijuana?
I don't think I took it all that serious. It certainly wasn't like a life-awakening moment. It was just like, oh, well, those guys sucked.
Did you go back?
They were jerks. Yes, we were definitely back probably within a couple days.
A couple of days, you went back to Tijuana, the town you were banned from. Did they have your picture up at the border? Like these girls, these girls, Jannean and Nichol, are banned from Tijuana. Do not allow entry.
They should have, but I don't think they did. I remember one time, because I'm so boy crazy. I would flirt with a lot of boys, and never, boy crazy is different than like actually, having a lot of sex. I was literally just boy crazy and loved to flirt. And I remember a couple occasions in line going from Tijuana back to the States, I would have like this little guy on my arm, like walking me to the border that I had been flirting with all night. Well, one of the times I thought he was like my ride or die dude, right, within that night.
Yeah.
And before I knew it, Nicole was behind me with some other friends. And before I knew it, this kid was pickpocketing me and taking my wallet out of my back pocket. And luckily they caught him and I got my wallet back and he ran off. But yeah, I mean, there's so many Tijuana stories. But yeah, I don't think there was ever a picture. Most wanted.
Who caught him?
I think it was Nicole. It said, Jannean, you're being pickpocketed by your new boyfriend.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I know.
Tell me about the night that you got lost by yourself in Tijuana.
Yes. I think I just got way too drunk one night in Tijuana and for whatever reason walked away from the club and just kept walking and walking and walking. And before I knew it, I was on the other side of town. So Tijuana has this main street called Revolution, where that's where all the bars and clubs and stuff are. And that's where all the, little tourists hang out and do their thing. You go to the other side of town and it's a whole different world over there. That's where all the locals live. I mean, you got your families and stuff, but yeah, you got these trouble over there as well. So I just remember, I have this vision in my head. I remember sitting in a pile of dirt on the side of a dirt road going, where the hell am I? And I remember being there for quite a while. And then I I put out my thumb to hitchhike to try and get back to Revolution. And somehow, and I don't know how, I was picked up, taken back by somebody who didn't try to take advantage of me. But what a situation that could have been.
You were so lucky.
I was so lucky.
I mean, my heart was pounding right then when you said, you put your thumb out. I mean, what is going to happen to this girl?
I was all alone, all by myself. There were a couple times that we would get separated and then we'd all have to find our own way back home and across the border. It might have been one of those times.
Oh my gosh. So you said you were kind of a latchkey kid. There wasn't a lot of parenting at home because your mom was working, your dad was on the road. But were there any rules at home?
Oh, there were a ton of rules.
How Jannean got out from under those rules, and how she and Nichol robbed a taco stand, next.
I am in the midst of a super busy period. Working overtime, house guests every month, I can't keep up. There are times I could really use some help with groceries and meal prep. When I can barely think of what I'm going to eat for lunch, Home Chef is there for me. I want to serve a nice meal for my guests next week, but I don't have time to shop, prep, and cook. So I took a look at Home Chef's menu, and the potato stick crusted chicken looks like the perfect meal to serve. And best of all, cleanup is easy. Home Chef takes the stress out of your week with convenient weekly deliveries that keep your fridge stocked and eliminate meal planning and grocery runs, making it easy to eat well, save time, and enjoy quick and delicious meals, even on your busiest days. And people really love it. Home Chef is rated #1 by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering you 50% off and free shipping for your first box, plus free dessert for life. Go to homechef.com/secret. That's homechef.com/secret for 50% off your first box and free dessert for life. homechef.com/secret. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. Check the show notes.
And Jannean's secret continues.
Yeah, there were a ton of rules. They weren't enforced when my dad was on the road, but once he was home, they were definitely enforced. One of the biggest rules was that I was not allowed to drive with boys. I think my dad had this huge fear of me dating boys and,
Okay. Looking back, do you feel that was a good rule?
No. I mean, at some,
Probably didn't like it at the time.
I think the rule was that I could start dating when I was 16. But by the time I was 14, I'm already hanging out with boys. I'm younger than that, obviously. But yeah, one of the biggest rules was not being able to hang out with boys. That means no driving with them. They could come over if they were your friends, but no, boyfriends allowed over, things like that.
So how did that rule go? Did you follow it?
I did break that rule. We had a friend who was older than us, and he had his own car. It was a Volkswagen Bug. And he picked Nichol and I up from my house. I don't think my parents were home. Well, I know my parents weren't home at the time. We were going to go get stoned. We were just going to go take a drive, get stoned, and then come back home. And so we're driving across town, and we had to stop for gas. So we stopped for gas, and my brother happens to be there getting gas himself. And he tells me that my dad is home and that I better get my ass home. And I'm like, okay. So he leaves, and I look at Nichol and my male friend driving the car, and I say, oh, I guess you could better get me home so I don't get in trouble. So instead of continuing to where we were going, we turn around and we go home. On the way home, we end up in a head-on collision.
Oh, my God.
It was a college student, and he was drinking and driving, and he made a wrong turn, and he hit us head on. And so we're in this little Volkswagen Bug. I'm in the passenger seat. I have no seatbelt. Nichol's in the back. I hit the windshield. I don't go through it, but I hit it. And I still have a scar on my face today from that. And I just remember after the collision that I was so scared I'd get in trouble again. So all I wanted to do was open the car door and run. And that's what I did. However, I didn't know at the time, but I had a broken collarbone. So I'd only make it like a little ways and fall and I'd faint. And then Nichol she was okay. She had a few minor scrapes and she was running after me. And every time I'd fall, she would grab me by under my arms and pull me up. So I think that would just make me faint more because the pain of having a broken collarbone and you're being pulled up by under your arms. And so it was just this ongoing thing. Probably happened like 5 times. At some point, I think she talked me into going back to the car, to this scene of the accident. We were probably, not that far away. And so we get back and the local newspaper is there. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, don't you dare put my picture in the paper. Go away. I'm going to get in trouble. And sure enough, my picture ends up on the front page of the local newspaper the day after, or I don't know, a few days after.
Is that how your parents learned about it?
No. After that incident, I was rushed to the hospital along with the driver of the other car and the passenger of the other car. They were critically injured, but they were hurt really bad.
Did everybody survive?
Everybody survived. I remember the passenger of the other car got hurt, I think the worst. I think I was the second worst. The driver had issues with his leg. Nichol was fine, but we all ended up at the hospital. I must have fainted maybe 50 more times that night. And I went home with the collarbone. That's how my parents found out because, I was taken to the hospital. So somebody called them. I get home. My dad hears the story, knows that I was driving with boys, gets really upset, and puts me on restriction for half a year.
And did you abide by his restrictions?
Oh, God, no.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think he was back on the road within a month.
Did you wear your seatbelt, at least?
After that, yeah. So my first 2 cars were Volkswagen Bugs, which I think is the same color, yellow, I think is ironic. And I always use my seatbelt after.
Okay, well, that's one good thing that came out of it.
It is. I'm definitely a safety girl when it comes to driving in cars.
So, Jannean, you describe in your stories about how you'd had all these misadventures, on zero money. Did you have any ways of generating any income at all?
Well, we had to. I mean, there was a point when we were teenagers where Nichol really would not be able to eat unless, she could always eat at my house. There was always food at my house, but we were in situations where we had no money and we were hungry, or we just wanted to ride the bus to get from, the mall to the beach or whatever. And so we would panhandle. We would stand out front of stores and ask for change for the bus, and usually get it. And we were 2 cute little teenagers and people didn't have a problem giving us money. And a lot of times that's how we'd get our food at Truly Yours or ride our local bus to go to the beach or the mall.
And did you ever attract the attention of the authorities?
Oh, yeah. So at that time, panhandling and stuff, we would also be hanging out with a lot of the homeless people, young people, old people, people who chose to be homeless, people who didn't. And we really got to know them. And they kind of became our friends. We didn't go places and hang out together, but they were always in a certain area and we'd go and hang out. This one time a cop came kind of questioning everyone, what are you doing today? Are you getting in trouble? Where are you sleeping? And he came across Nichol and myself and asking the same questions. We're like, well, we have a home. We're fine. We're just hanging out. And he's like, okay, well, I can see you guys are going to be trouble at some point. So let me take your picture now and put it up in the police station so that later on I can identify you.
Oh my gosh, you are kidding me.
No.
The cop tagged you as future problem kids.
Yes.
And took your picture in the homeless camp to post in the sheriff's office.
Exactly.
For his fellow cops to look out for these guys.
We just looked like 2 teenagers, but he knew the people that we were hanging out with, and just the fact that we were just, I guess, loitering. He felt justice to take our picture and put it up in the sheriff's station.
Did you get a copy of it?
I did. So back then, it was a Polaroid camera, right? So you take the picture and it comes out within an instant. So he took one. And then I'm like, oh, can you take one for Nichol and I to have?
Like a souvenir.
So I can keep it as a memory. And he's like, I guess. I think he kind of chuckled.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
He took it again. And I'm looking at it when it, came clear, because it takes a couple minutes for Polaroid to clear up and become the picture. And in the background, you can see the reflection of the cop taking the picture of us. It's a great picture. I have it. It's somewhere in a box in my mom's garage. But I have that picture to this day, and I always giggle when I look at it.
Think there's any chance we could see it?
I was thinking about that, and I will let you know, Ben. I really have to go through those boxes and look. But I thought it might be fun to go through some of those boxes and find you some old, because I was one of those teenagers that took pictures of everything. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of pictures of Nicole and I just doing silly stuff, and definitely that picture's in there. But I have to take some time to go through these boxes.
Classic.
I will look.
When you've looked back at that picture, do you think about those times and wonder, like, how life could have been different or better?
I never do that, Ben. I mean, it definitely wasn't a perfect childhood by any means, but like I said before, there was definitely a lot of love in my family, even though it was a little dysfunctional or a lot dysfunctional. Uh-huh. But no, I look back at those moments and I think they're kind of special. I definitely who I am now because of those years. I feel like it made me strong and made me a little bit badass. I don't regret any of it.
I'm not suggesting that you should regret it. I just feel so badly. My heart just aches for younger you, you know? I hate to think of you going through all these things.
It shouldn't. I feel like it was one big adventure. Or I know you call it a misadventure, but misadventure, adventure, either one.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there are things I regret. I don't know how to answer that, honestly.
Well, you got through it.
Okay.
You got through it, right? You're living a good life now.
Well, I mean, still full of challenges, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so then there's the story that you mentioned in your secret at the top of the show, where you and Nicole robbed a taco stand.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that day?
That's what brings us here today, Ben.
Yeah. So tell me about that day. How old were you guys?
I think we were 13. I was trying to look that up. It was whenever the movie Desperately Seeking Susan came out. And I think that was 85. I'd have to look that up again. I believe we were 13 at the time. I think we went into the taco shop to have a burrito. My staple was a bean and cheese burrito. I believe hers was too. And we're eating. We come up with a brilliant idea that this is the only guy working at the taco shop at the moment.
Oh, no.
I think he's cooking and doing the register at the same time. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be easy to grab up all the money out of the cash register and run.
How are you going to do that?
Exactly.
Okay, let's hear your plan. What did you guys do?
Yeah, over the burritos, we come up with a brilliant plan. So this taco shop has 2 rooms. When you walk in the door, it's got, some tables and chairs, and there's a register. And then you kind of go around a corner and there's another room that just has tables and chairs. So we go into that room and that's where we're eating our burritos, and we're coming up with this plan. And we agree that if I can get all his attention on me in that other room, then Nicole will sneak away, go to the register, open it, take all the money, and then we'll just leave.
Oh my gosh. So how did you plan to get his attention?
By flirting with him, right? Okay. So I call him in. I don't know. May I have more hot sauce? I'm not sure what I said. And,
okay.
Get him into the other room. And then I'm like, hey, you're cute. And by this time.
You said you're cute to him?
Oh, I'm sure. And I actually did have a thing for Mexican dudes. I still do. Honestly, I'm a white girl, whatever. But all those times in Tijuana and stuff, I'm very comfortable around Mexican guys. And he was cute, I think. Well, I don't remember. But anyway, I had no problem flirting with him. And I had I think he only spoke Spanish. And I'm using my broken up Spanish again, going, you're cute, muy guapo. And I'm flirting with him and all the things.
And meanwhile, Nicole's in the other room.
Yeah. So meanwhile, Nicole scurries off to the other room and she goes to the register and she opens it, because in the 80s, it just takes one push of a button to open the register, or turn a key.
Does it make a noise?
And that's what happens. So she opens the register, it makes this bell sound, ding. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden he's like, wait, what? And so he turns around and he realizes Nicole's at the register taking out all the money. So he runs towards her And so Nichol sees him running towards her, and she kind of, I don't know, runs another way. And
did she grab some cash?
She did.
Okay.
And now she's got hands full of cash. He's running after her, so she throws it up in the air. And so then I start going on the ground trying to pick up any money I can. I mean, this all happened within a few seconds, right? So I've got some money in my hands. She still has some money in her hands. And we run out the door.
Oh my gosh.
And I think at that time, he's picking up money off the floor as well, right?
So this guy realizes that your overtures were not sincere.
Yes. I think he realized that I didn't really think he was muy guapo at the time. I mean, very handsome.
Okay.
And we just wanted his money. Yes. Or not his money, but the store's money. Yeah.
He's busy cleaning up money off the floor, and you guys have a fistful of cash and you're outside. And
we run out the front door, and we run down the street, and we go like around a corner and hide somewhere, and we count our money. And I wish I knew, but I don't remember how much money we had. It wasn't that much.
Was not life-changing money.
It was. I wish it was.
Yeah.
But it was not. And we knew we had to hide because, we figured he'd call the cops.
Yeah, he's going to be on the phone to 911 in about 2 seconds.
Right? You would think so.
Yeah.
So we had to hide. And there's this little theater right across the street from the taco shop. It's like back then you had 2 movies that played. So it was a 2-room movie theater.
Okay.
And one of the movies was Desperately Seeking Susan.
Starring Madonna.
Starred Madonna and Rosanna Arquette.
Right.
Which again was super famous in the 80s. And Nichol and I both wanted to see that movie. And at the moment we thought, well, that would be a good place to hide. And we could go see the movie that we've been waiting to see.
Wow. So you're hiding from your theft and enjoying a movie.
Yes. So we walk across the street, we pay our money, get our tickets, go in, buy a couple candy bars, sit down, and we get to watch all of Desperately Seeking Susan with Madonna. And at the end, all of Madonna's early songs are playing while the credits are rolling, and we go down the stage and we start dancing like we just did not rob a taco shop 2 hours or an hour and a half prior.
Did you have any concern at all that the guapo cashier at the taco shop had seen you guys enter the movie theater and told the cops, hey, they're in there, go get them?
No.
Did not concern you at all?
No.
And I guess since you made it to the end of the film, the cops were never alerted as to your whereabouts.
Yeah, I think we probably kind of slid out, and went the opposite direction, not to be in front of the taco shop. But no, I don't remember being too concerned about it.
You guys have no fear.
Right. I was going to say, it's not that we weren't smart, because we were pretty smart for our age, but we just had no fear, and we didn't care what the consequences would be, because I think neither one of us got in any serious trouble, during that time. So we didn't understand what true consequences would be. And
so you never got caught for that?
Never got caught. No.
Wow.
I just told my mom the story a couple years ago, I think. And
what'd she say?
She just shook her head and giggled. I'm 53 now, so I think she can't put me on restriction.
Right. No restrictions now.
Plus, I drive her to the doctor's office. So
do you go by the taco shop today? I
do drive by that corner. I still live in the area that I grew up. I'm like 2 towns over. I do go by that corner and I kind of smile. Memories.
Ever go in and get a burrito?
No. Unfortunately, the taco shop is not there anymore. The Avo still is, but the movie theater, but not the taco shop.
Okay.
I go down to the next block because there's usually a taco shop on every block, and they're all good.
And you said that you are still best friends with Nichol.
I am.
Does she still live in the same area?
We're not in the same town, but she's like 2 towns over from where I grew up. I'm 2 towns over. We're, 30 minutes apart from each other.
How often do you get together?
At least I would say twice a month. We try to do little happy hours, and she has 3 boys that she's raising that are under 15. She kind of started having kids late. 3 beautiful boys. So she's super busy. And then mine are grown, but... How many kids do you have? I have 3 as well. Well, so you both have 3 kids. Yeah, which is kind of odd. Have you left this life of crime, I'll say in quotations, behind you? Like youthful crime? I don't know how to... Have I left the life of crime behind me? Yeah. Yes, for the most part. I certainly don't do drugs anymore. I haven't since I was, 15. As far as I don't go in and rob places. That was a one-time event. However, every once in a while you may catch me stealing a plant or two from the grocery store or close to my house.
Oh, goodness.
I feel justified. I feel like they overprice them and they just sit there and die by the front door. So I grab them up, put them in my car, take them home and give them a better life.
How do you get them out of the store?
Well, they're usually outside the door. So you just, I don't know, with confidence, you just pick one up and put it in your car. Nobody
says anything.
knows.
You just walk away.
And you just walk away.
Huh.
And I don't feel bad about it. But that's the only thing I do. I think that is.
How about Nicole? Has she
rebellious.
reformed?
Oh, gosh. Nicole is like the perfect mom to these boys. And she plays by the rule book all the time. And sometimes I'll tell her something I did. And she's like, Janine, what are you doing? So, she's a rule stickler, however you say that.
Yeah.
She definitely follows the rules all the time. And she's a great mother. And I'm super proud of her, especially coming from what she came from. To see her rocket as one of the best moms I've ever known is a beautiful thing to see.
So, Janine, I wanted to share a funny behind-the-scenes moment when we were prepping for the interview.
Okay.
When we were getting ready, you were giving me some notes on your secret, but you had to get some help typing it out.
Yes.
Tell me who helped you and what happened.
One of my daughters. So one of the things you said I needed was to get my computer ready. And I'm like, well, what if I don't have a computer?
Yeah.
And I remember you were a little shocked, saying that you were surprised I do not own a computer. And it's not because I can't afford one. I just don't have any need for one. And you thought that was, well, from what I feel like you thought that was odd.
Okay.
So I thought about it.
Sorry.
Went, okay,
don't mean to judge
odd.
you on your lack of computerness.
No, I think it's great that I don't own a computer.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I had to figure out how you wanted me to type up some things and send it to you. So I had to figure out how to do that. Just so we had some notes.
Yeah.
So I had to call on one of my daughters and ask, if I read the story to you, will you type it up on your computer and then send it back to me? And she did. And so I don't know, it took me a while to tell her the story. And the whole time we're laughing about it, and we'd have to stop and I'd have to explain a little bit.
So this was the first time your daughter had heard most of these stories.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. How did she react? Like, Mom, what on earth were you up to?
Honestly, she knows my personality, and she knows that I have a past. I do not think she was surprised. The one thing I felt a little odd about telling her was the whole crystal meth thing. I've never told them that, or the psychedelics, my drugs issue, or not issue, telling them about my past drug use is not something I had done. So that was new. And I felt a little bit about that. But what I told her and what I told them all growing up when I talk about my past is, that's anything goes in the 80s.
Yeah.
So I kind of left it at that. It was a lot of giggling. And I think she loved hearing my story.
So this sounds like a great bonding moment for you guys.
Yes, definitely. I feel like we all have challenges in our lives and it makes us who we are now. Yeah. And, as my daughters and my son make mistakes as they're growing up, like we all do, they can see that I'm relatable because I've made quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had no problem sharing the story with the girls. And the part with the boys, and the tent and the getting sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
I had never told her that story, but I definitely did not have a problem telling her that story because, again, this is a reality.
Yeah.
And my twin girls are 22 and it could happen to them at any time. And so them knowing that I've gone through something like that, hopefully that will prepare them so they don't have to go through something like that. They can be a bit more responsible than I was in that situation.
So you told your daughter this story so that she could take notes for you. Do your other two kids now know? Are they all read in?
Well, nobody knows the exact story. Like she does because she's the one who typed it.
Yeah.
My other daughter definitely knows some, and she will not be surprised. My son, he's older and he's a boy, so I'm going to definitely let him listen to the story and he'll be fine with it, but he might be a little bit more judgy.
Okay.
I think he likes the idea of kind of a storybook mom, and I'm not. But again, we have so much love in this little family between me and my children that it's going to be fine. And if anything, it's going to bring us closer.
You told me that the times in Tijuana were some of the best of your life.
Absolutely.
But how would you feel now as a mom if your kids were up to the same shenanigans?
Oh, I would lose my shit, especially if they were doing it at the age I was.
Yeah. And so do you know if they did engage in anything like that?
I don't know. I would assume there's things they did that they haven't told me about yet, and they will.
Yeah.
Luckily, my daughter, I was able to be not a stay-at-home mom, but half the time. So I was always home when they would come home from school. And by then we had cell phones and I could keep track of where everyone is. And, the times have changed. So I don't think they got in too much trouble as teenagers. And my girls were super shy. So I think because they were twins, I think that kept them out of a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. And then my son, I don't feel like he got in too much trouble as a teenager.
Well, good. So you raised them right.
I tried. I feel like, I had a little bit to do with it, but they're just awesome people. So they just did good on their own.
Well, you had some life lessons to draw from. I
did. Yeah.
Why did you want to tell your story today, Jannean?
Basically, there's a couple reasons.
Okay.
I feel like it's a fun story and I think I'm ready to share it. Again, we could go on for another hour of different stories I have, but, these are some fun ones, and it's fun for me to tell it. That it's important for people to know that even if you go through some challenging stuff as you're growing up and throughout your life, it makes you the person you are to this day, right? Mm-hmm. That sounds cheesy. I'm trying to, I don't know. It just makes having all these misadventures makes you who you are, and I wouldn't change anything. And I know that on this podcast, there are some very serious stories so it's almost unfair for me to sit here and say, well, all our things make us who we are today. But in my case, I feel like that is what it is. I feel like I'm a very strong mother and person. I'm very adventurous. I still don't think through things too much. And I kind of act and I'm spontaneous. And I feel like all that is stemmed from my growing up and my background and my misadventures.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't change it for the world. And I'm hoping that my stories will do a couple things to encourage my kids. And that is to get out there and be adventurous, maybe in a bit more positive way, not breaking so many rules. But I don't know, you have one life, make the most out of it, even if it means robbing a taco shop. And then for my kids to learn from my mistakes, don't get yourself in dangerous situations that could have taken a much worse turn. So, I guess that's why I want to share.
Well, you are remarkably well-adjusted for everything you went through as a kid.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but...
And that is a testament to your spirit.
I try to be well-adjusted every day.
Yeah. And it sounds like you raised 3 great kids, so congratulations, and I'm glad you were able to draw on the experiences of your youth to build a good foundation as an adult.
Well, thank you, Ben.
Yeah. Well, what a life, Jannean. I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out and for being vulnerable, I guess, and sharing your secret with us.
You're welcome, Ben. This has been so much fun for me. I've listened to you for a long time, and to actually be one of your guests is such a pleasure and a little surreal.
Well, it was great having you on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was so much fun for me, too. Jannean may not feel like she's a fully well-adjusted adult, but that just proves my point, doesn't it? She recognizes that life never fully settles down and that there are always challenges that we must rise to. And while neither of us recommend how she grew up as a blueprint for a model childhood, Jannean did pick up a lot of street smarts, which has for sure informed her parenting and life choices for the better. You have any pictures?
Yeah, and I do have one picture where I'm wearing my Boy George t-shirt and I'm on a swing set.
Okay.
That just happens to be on my phone. Maybe sometime next week I could go through some of my boxes in my mom's garage and find some actual good photos.
Okay, great. Jannean couldn't find the Polaroid the cop took, but she did find some great pictures of her and Nichol then and today. See her pictures on Instagram and Facebook. Our handle is @SecretRoomPod. And if you'd like to listen to The Secret Room on YouTube, we are now uploading audio versions there too. You guys had a lot to say about Tiffany from our recent episode, My Husband and the Catfish. Well, Tiffany was back last week on our premium show for a juicy follow-up to talk about fetishes, ethical non-monogamy, and the tough social media reaction you guys gave. You can try The Secret Room Unlocked with a free trial. And here is what host Susie Lark has on her next episode.
Jannean is back with more incredible stories. In this no-holds-barred conversation, we dive into what's really going on in her adult friendship with Nichol, revisit her year in foster care, and uncover a few raucous surprises along the way. It's a wildly chaotic discussion you won't want to miss. It drops in 1 week on our members program, The Secret Room Unlocked, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and at patreon.com/secretroom. There's a free trial.
Are you ready to join me in the secret room with your confession? Click the Share a Secret button at secretroompod.com to send it directly to me. Thanks to Susie Lark and Luna Patel for production support, and to Breakmaster Cylinder for the music. And now let me get the tagline for you.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, you can read it anytime.
All right, ready? Here I go.
Ready.
This is The Secret Room, a podcast about the stories no one ever tells.
Perfect.
Pot on, Mr. Ham.
You're a nut.
Can I say Mr. Ham?
Yeah, you can say
Can
that.
I say pot? Okay, I love Mr. Ham.
Let's do it now. Pot on, Jannean.
Pot on, Mr. Ham.
That's great. Perfect. And I'll see you back here in just 2 short weeks for another amazing secret. I'm Mr. Ham.